Hey man, grab a razor knife.
Grab a razor knife.
Grab a razor knife. Grab the tube. Let's take the tube first. What does it say on it?
This is.
It says
Spike.
Spike. Okay, yeah.
For-
Ship to Dean the Machine.
Dean the Machine.
And who's it from? Audio Control. All right, so we got a box here from Audio Control.
Yeah.
Hey, it's up from Sweden. What's going on, man? Now, I think I know what's in some of these, and we get to show you. We might get to show you some, but we might not get to show you all. What is in there? Can you see what it is?
Wow. I can see it because it's just.
All right, slide it out. Let's see what it is. Holy crap! Is that a poster?
It looks like your face on it.
Yeah. Oh, dang. Okay. All right. Yeah, I was going to say, why don't you set it on the floor? Ow. So it's a DMRTA poster.
DMRTA poster.
Oh, dude, I think somebody needs that in their garage. Oh, look at that one.
I like this one.
Yeah. Dude, I think we should give these away.
Yeah, but they can't because that's right.
Who cares, dude? Someone's going to hang it in the garage. That'd look awesome.
Yeah, that would.
Hey, from Germany, watching the most hated aspect ratio on the internet. Right, Peter? You called it. It's so, yeah, look at that. All right.
I like it.
Huh, I like it. That's cool. All right, let's put them back in the tube.
I'm going to.
Okay. I think we should. Maybe we'll just do random giveaway crap one day and we'll give those away. Of course, we'll have to wait till next year when Chris isn't, like, paying attention. What's up from Trinidad? Yeah, because we should probably keep those and talk about the fact that I'll be at Audio Control on December 10th
Yeah. You know
with
what
Haley.
direction?
What's that?
You know where?
Do I know where it's at?
Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
That's in.
What's up from Cambodia? How's it going, buddy?
How you doing?
All right, so this box is going to be the sketchy box. You got to be real careful what's inside of this one. And there again, who's it for?
That is for
Dean the Machine.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. Hey, from Brazil, what's happening? God, you guys are all coming from everywhere. Oh, it's AmeriCar. I love that title. All right, so let's see what you got. If there's boxes in there, we got to keep the boxes hidden. But if there's just bags, I think we can show the dibs on the box. No, this stuff, most of the stuff actually has to, I got to take this stuff back with me when I go back to Audio Control. But hey, from Mexico, we are totally international today. You just got bags?
Mexico, it's a lot of bags.
Bags are cool. We can show bags. Bags are cool.
Yeah, but still.
No, bags we can show.
Why?
So, but because they're cool. This is a pro. So, for those of you guys that follow Stinger Australia, all right. So it's Amp Global's headquarters down in Australia. They don't own it. They just have rights to the distributor. They're making T-harnesses for the Audio Control products because they're also the Audio Control distributor down in Australia. And of course, they Audio Control here in the U.S. wants to get into the T-harness business, so that we don't have to keep recommending you go buy an Access T-harness. So they've Australia sent them each one of the harnesses that they make, and in turn, Audio Control sent them to us so that we could go through them all for them and figure out which harnesses are for the U.S. and which harnesses aren't, so that they can then order them. Right. So the idea behind this is that you'll be able to go plug and play right into your LC7i. Flip it over. Let me see the front. You keep moving the front. So, Connect Pro. Oh, that is so funny. That's so funny. So, what is this one for? This looks like some kind of generic. I don't know what that is, but this one is Volkswagen. This is Volkswagen, so this is cool. And then what do you got there? This is another Volkswagen. This is 1884 German. No, this is German. This is Honda. No, this end here. This is Honda. So that's the Honda.
It looks like a Ford.
Oh, that is a Ford. Oh, sorry. That's the Ford.
Definitely
yeah,
Ford.
so that's a Ford T-harness. And I think they're doing what we used to do in that these, so this is going to be the finished product here.
Right.
But they're buying these, which are, they're again, it says Ford right here. Dude. They're buying like the DSP harnesses and they're going to hand make each one of these. So we got, Mazda. That one's cool.
Hyundai.
Ooh, look at that.
Hyundai and Kia.
Oh, dang, that's the big harness.
Hi, baby.
Yeah, no doubt.
You happy to see me?
Yeah. And then what do we got there? That's another German harness. So that's the Volkswagen German stuff. Yeah. So that's relevant.
Like a Mercedes or whatever.
Yeah. So here's another finished product.
Yeah.
Which one is this for? Is this just a
This is just
Oh, you know, oh gosh, I know what's going on. Ah, okay, I get it. So you buy this. This is the harness that plugs into these. Let's open these things up. Open one here. This one's open. Go ahead and open that one up. Pull this one out. You know what? Go ahead and pull that one out. Hang tight. I gotta come over here. I need to get this box right here. All right. LC7i. All right, let's pull these off. I know, right? Who just has an LC7i on hand? This guy. All right, so now we can grab. I'm hanging.
right there.
All right, so now we have. This
So
plugs
from the
into the cars. This would be a Volkswagen or Mercedes or some BMWs. That plugs in there. Here's our LC7i. So we have
this.
So that's power.
That's power.
Give me power. Plug the power in. I'm gonna step back so you guys can see what's going on.
I think.
There again, this is all prototype stuff. So
Okay.
there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And then we can go here.
Nope, two. This is rear.
Never mind. Well, you got the idea.
Well, yeah, but let's do it right, bro. Let's do it right.
Okay.
And then this would go off to your amplifier. Your RCAs would come out of here and go off to your amplifier.
Now,
Oh, the LGDs?
if you have the LGDs,
Those are gonna go here.
yeah, so you can.
We should just grab one of the open ones we have in the
Where is
toolbox. I think, hold on. I think it's over here.
Oh man, you're not prepared? Wow.
I'm never prepared. Here it is. Got it. LGD. Oh, but I don't have. Crap.
Oh, you don't need it.
Well, no, I need the pigtail. I don't have the pigtail. So that's not going to work. All right, so grab.
Well, anyway, so you.
Yeah, you get the
have
idea. You get the
right
idea.
Here.
So the whole idea behind this is now and it's long enough. This can go in the trunk.
So you can see it right here.
Yeah.
On the picture.
Yeah, let's go to
That
pictures
tells
because
you.
we don't have the real thing in front of us.
Yeah,
So if you
exactly.
need LGDs, that's how they would go in.
So before you plug it in here, you put in the LGDs and the LGDs.
So this would just streamline your LC7i installation, or you could obviously. So this would work for pretty much any of the audio control stuff because you could just do the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, you'd have to change the ends because on the DSPs they use the smaller inputs, so you'd have to swap out the ends, which is fine because you have to do that on the LGDs.
You just have to unscrew this and that.
Yeah, so this is just made for making your life a little bit easier.
Man, look at that.
So these are products that they're going to evaluate, and I'm sure we're not supposed to be talking about these, but you know what?
What?
I'll let Alex yell at me next month. But so this is something. If you live in Australia, you can get these right now. Probably New Zealand too.
Yeah.
But we're going to evaluate these for the U.S. And so I guess the idea is you just stock these T harnesses to make life easy, and then if you want to go off to an audio control, you just
No,
boom.
this is not out yet. So
No, this isn't out yet. This is all. It is out in Australia. It's not out here in the U.S. So it's coming.
If you're gonna talk to audio control.
This is actually all they sent them.
Yeah.
So we got they just put a new label on top of the box and sent it to us. And I gotta carry all this stuff back
Then it's
in my
gonna be like,
suitcase.
Why would you talk about these, man?
I'm just saying I gotta carry all this crap back in my suitcase. That sucks. I think I might be paying to ship it back. Because that's a lot of room, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And that's heavy stuff. Holy cow. Alright, might have to rethink that one. Audison has such harnesses for Prima stuff too. Yes. Yeah, so they have the F-150 and they have some of the German cars as well. I mean, this is not an original idea by any stretch of the, at least in Germany, yeah. No, they have some of them here. This is not an original idea by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, they have a mail.
Oh, butt connector. Mail to mail. Oh, that's cool. That comes in handy every now and then. Besides Elliott, how many other head unit offers Toshlink outputs? So some of the older Alpines had a digital output. It was Alpine's 4-pin digital output. It wasn't fiber optic. Right now, though, and some of the older Kenwoods, which I think we have one, but we're talking like 10 years old. Currently, the Sony GS9 has a Toshlink output. That's it. Other than maybe some white box radios. Well, no, that's what they asked. Other than the Elevate, what has a Toshlink output?
Did they, the 10 is gonna have?
Yeah, the 10 will have it, but that's not out right now. We're talking current radios. So Pioneer makes nothing, Kenwood makes nothing, JVC obviously makes nothing then. Alpine has nothing in their current lineup that you could put in a car that has anything. Sony has the GS9. That's it. Now, all the Amp Pros have the option to add a Toshlink. So if you have one of the cars that has a Toshlink output, or one of the cars that has the Amp Pro capability, you can add that in and get a Toshlink out of your factory radio. Other than that, obviously the Nav TV Zen has Toshlink output. That's it. That's all she wrote. Bobby, what's going on? Can you go into detail on the KTP 455U Alpine setting switches, like how to set it up? The 455U is the little brick amp. I do not have one of those over here. On the bottom of it, it has a set of dip switches. I'd have to be looking at it. I don't have one. Maybe we'll save that for tomorrow. Fernando's not going to be here tomorrow. If you watch tomorrow, I don't know when, I'll... Yeah, but that's not a current piece though, is it? And that's not a Toshlink output. That's just their fiber output or their digital output. You got to be full. Do their whole full thing. It's not like you just go buy a generic fiber output and go to town. Someone's gonna just not knock.
Yeah.
Hi.
How's gonna help you?
I'm on the internets right now. Can you give me like 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Frostbite boxes. Call me. I need to order some boxes. But yeah, so there we go. Now, what does have a Toshlink output that I think might be a better solution if you get a DSP that has the option to have Toshlink and like a regular system is the Moscone piece, which is this guy. Hold on, let me flip this around. Which is this guy right here. So this is the, stop moving for a second. This is the AMAS96K. This is their Bluetooth high-res dongle. It has the Toshlink output, so you can come right out of this into the Toshlink input on a DSP if your DSP has Toshlink. So what that would mean is you could go to your input here, like this is an 810, so you could go right into this with it, and then you could stream your Onkyo app from your iPad with all your DSD and FLAC files right into that, and it would sound amazing, and we know it because we've heard it. It's pretty amazing. Dean was wondering if I should run a kicker key on my KS 6x9s and add a mono 801 instead of the Pioneer 5 channel. Ooh. Huh. That's interesting. So you're definitely going to get more power out of the 5 channel.
Yeah.
But I mean, you'll get the processing power of that, but that's a tough one. I'll have to think about that one, Bobby. Should my amp, personally, I mean, okay, here's my thought. Personally, I would do just do an external DSP and not do the kicker key, but I get the allure of the kicker key. Now, if you want to take the kicker key and just go on the front component. Well, it's a KS. That's gonna sound weird. No, I wouldn't do it. I'd stick with the Pioneer. Or just get the Kenwood. I mean the Kicker 4 channel. Should my amp for my 4 channel be set to full pass when using the JL Audio Tweak 88? Yes, because you're going to use that DSP for your crossover and your equalizer, so all that stuff's going to go through that. How bad is the Dayton DSP? Okay, software is okay. Sound quality sucks. You know, for $150, it's exactly what you're paying for. It's exactly what you're paying for. For $100 more, you can get DSR1. I would do that. What flute meters do you guys use? Good question. Where's your meter?
Right there in the first one.
First drawer. So Fernando has the 115. And he also has the Lumi. Oh,
right
there's
there.
the Lumi right there. So that's the Lumi. That's a printer, label maker. He does all that fun stuff. I don't have the patience for it. And then, nope, not that drawer. This drawer, I have a 179. I have a 374 clamp. I, of course, have a Lumi. Have the Scope Plus 440 TPI. And then, what did I do with my meter? Did I lose my meter? Oh, no, here it is. And then I just have the 114 for like doing quick stuff that I don't need because this is super simple. The main difference between the 14 and the 15 is this has the ability to do the parasitic draw test. This one does not, but the bigger one I have will. So that's pretty cool there. All right, what do we got? 12-inch sub fits 2000 Mustang without taking all the trunk space besides the JL. A-Trend. Check out A-Trend. A-Trend makes a box for the Mustang. I believe it might fit that one. All right, so that's... what foam did y'all use to cut out for the boxes? Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search 2-inch foam, and you'll be all set. All right, guys, we're going to cut this one short. I got to go help a customer. Thanks so much. 15 can also check microfarad on the caps. Don't think... Yeah, 14 is super basic. I just needed it for voltage. That's why I bought 2. I know, right? All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. We'll catch up with you later. Bye. Oh, boy. What is going on, people? Well, normally I'd be like, hey, what's up, buddy? But there's no Fernando today. Fernando took the day off in preparation for tomorrow. Those of you that are celebrating Thanksgiving, hopefully you have a fun and eventful Thanksgiving. Non-eventful would not be good. I like eventful Thanksgivings. I'll be spending my Thanksgiving with my good friend Artie of Amp Global. We're buddies outside of work, so it'll be fun. We've been friends for a pretty long time. He was one of the first people that actually was the first person that got to hold Haley when she was born. He loves telling that story, so I'm sure at some point tomorrow before the day is up, he'll be telling that story to somebody and embarrassing the crap out of Haley. But while we're all just chiming in real quick to think about tomorrow at 10 o'clock on YouTube, it is our annual Thanksgiving Day show. I think this will be year number 4 we've done this. Haley, Fernando, and I all get together. We go down to Dunedin Beach, and we do a live show for an hour at 10 o'clock with a nice beach in the background so that you guys that are in that cold part of the world, well, hey, it's a little bit of warmness. It's before all the football games and parades and all that silliness starts, so everyone's getting up. Johnny from Loud and Clear, Wiley Coyote, Wiley, Texas, checking in. But yeah, it's a real fun time that everyone, you know, Paul? Paul wouldn't know what to do in the install bay. If you ever see him, he just kind of like does this through the install bay, which is perfect. That's all we want him to do. Just, you know, Paul. And it's like, bye. Because as soon as he starts looking at the stuff on this wall, it's like, what do you need? Kentucky, checking in. What's up, guys? Let's go back through this real quick. You guys have a happy Thanksgiving. You as well. Oh, hey, what's up from Iowa? In the cold part of the world. Jeez. Although I will be up there close to Iowa here in on the 10th. Don't forget, we have the audio control show we're going to be doing. I'll be up there filming a documentary, kind of like what we did for Kicker, just at audio control. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. We're going to do a couple live shows while we're there. How to bypass a factory amp that has a fixed volume from the preamp. Wonderful question. First off, a couple things you want to do. You want to see if there is a Amp Pro available. You want to see if there's an AR available. None of one of those. You also want to check and see if there is a Nav TV Zen piece available. If none of those check out, you have two options. One, if it is in fact a full frequency output, just non-variable, like in this nice Lexus behind us that is old as dirt, so we would never do that. That has all your chimes, your Bluetooth, your navigation, all the beeps, bops, and whistles that are coming through it, because a lot of times that doesn't happen, so you have to check for that. Okay, if all that is coming through, then you go with a DSP that has an external DRC or controller, and you use the volume knob from that controller to then control your system's volume. That's one way to do it. Most people, what they do is they just use a high level to low level or a DSP after the factory amplifier, and they do summing. Obviously, going with the full frequency into a DSP and then using that DSP's volume knob is way easier and will sound better most of the time. But there again, you have to have a knob now. So that's Paul only lurks in the install bay. Oh, he is a lurker, and you would know. You've been here, spent the day. So, what's your thinking of the Sony Gs speakers? I like them a lot. We sold them for a little bit when they first came out. I love the crossovers that they have because they put a lot of work into the crossovers. I also like that each one of the speaker coaxials is biampable. The tweeter is a bit big, so sometimes you do have a hard time getting it into, let's say, a factory location. But other than that, it's a solid speaker. I would definitely recommend it. I also love it because the 6x9 is biampable, so something like my Chevy, where you have a biamp speaker from the factory, because the 6x9 portion of it is the subwoofer. That's one of the only speakers that will fit the bill because you can wire it up biamped. So if you want to go with a full active system on a coaxial, you can. I know, right? Isn't that cool? Hey, from Iceland, what's going on? Dang. So the glaciers are probably melting there. Of course, Iceland would be green and Greenland would be ice. Solid, yeah, that's how they teach it here. It's really weird. Let's go down here. Thanks for the Nav TV 2019 Sierra. Got the JL Audio C3 Hertz millis. Ooh, was too much. Okay. Any recommendations on door speakers for a 2019 Ram without the Alpine system? Right off the bat, one of the winter chicken dinners that we've been doing a lot of lately for simple upgrades in those is, of course, the new Exelon 6x9 components that they have. So it's a 6x9 mid-bass with a 2.5-inch speaker that goes up in the dash. What we do is we actually buy 2 sets, or we sell the customer 2 sets, pull the 2-inch out. We give them money back for those because they're never going to use them. But we put 4 of those 6x9s in the doors, and we put the 2-inch up in the dash. Whoa, freaking awesome, man. Tons of deep, fulfilling sound out of that. Those 2-inch high-frequency mid-range that they make are really impressive. So if we're doing like a low wattage system or just off deck power or something like that, it's a wonderful combination. Now, if you want to go system builder and go crazy, put big power in there and whatnot, Morel's 6x9 components are phenomenal. They also, obviously, Morel's nice, and then of course the Focal. But I would look at those Kenwoods. Those are impressive. Any room recommendations on door speaker? Yeah, okay, sorry, read that one twice. My bad. Can I use a Fix 82 for the fixed volume preamp? If the Fixed 82 has an external volume knob, which I believe it does, yes. Anything with an external volume knob will allow you to do that. So, yeah, it does. It does. There again, I'm not a JL dealer, but I know I've seen, like, the VXI, you can do external, so I'm assuming that you can too. But yes, if they do sell an external volume knob, do it there. All right, hey, I got a Kenwood DDX 594, and with my USB I get to certain files and it won't let me go forward or back, and I have to reset the unit to get out of USB. Any ideas? So yeah, really at the end of the day, those particular radios, 16 gigs is really where they tap out. Sure, you can plug a 32, you can probably plug a 128. 16 is about it, just because it's just too much. It's really not set up to deal with its own file structure, and though it's running Linux, or no, that one isn't running Linux. See, that one's not running Linux, so it's got a real small processor in it. That's why, like, phones with files, or iPods, or iPhones, or something i-wise works better because it has its own file structure built into it that it can easily just piggyback off of. When you put a thumb drive in, it doesn't have the processing power to deal with these bigger thumb drives. So I would tap out at 16 gig, just have multiple thumb drives. Sometimes just because you can doesn't mean you should. Hey, from Germany, hope you have a great day. It's all right. Actually, I've worked on 2 Jeeps so far, so kind of like, what's going on? It's like parking. It's like parking on a driveway and driving on a parking way. Oh, he must be out driving in today's traffic. You know, everyone's, takes Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They get that nice long weekend, Saturday, whatever. Not us, man. We got tomorrow off, and then Friday, Saturday. Shocking. We have another big F-150 coming in for another 2-day build. Simple. It turns into kind of a package that we've been doing in the F-150s. The Q-Class 1005, because it's got a DSP, so when we hook it up to that factory radio, we have plenty of power to do what we want with it. He's a big kicker fan, so he's going to go with KS components up front, KS coaxials in the rear, some comp RTs. We're probably going to film it just because we have the time, because we have it for 2 days, and it's not a particularly difficult build that we're doing. It's just a matter of getting everything in. And it's a full kicker build, which, will make kicker happy if we put up a video like that. So we're probably going to film that one. That's my plan anyway. I'm charging my batteries to get ready for it. All right. Hey. Let's see what we got here. Oh, I like that. Replace my stock Sony amp with, in my F-150, we'll be using Pack Amp Pro with Amplifier with you. Would you recommend? I think about JL, VIA, okay, or an Audio Acoustics 1200. So with the Amp Pro, right off the bat, you're not actually going to be replacing the amplifier. The amplifier has to stay. It can't come out. So you're going to be adding that in. Now, if something else to think about, if you want to remove the amplifier because you want the extra room, that's where going with the iData DSR1 combination goes, because with the Rockford DSR1/iData, you can take that factory amplifier out and you get all that room, and then you can go into a non-DSP'd amplifier. So the price difference might be worth the money. You could go with the LC6 1200 and be rocking and rolling, and you get the full DSP. With the Amp Pro, though it will work and does an exceptional job, you have to buy the Amp Pro, you have to buy the T-harness, and then you have no equalization, no DSP processing, because you're looking at 2 amplifiers that don't have DSP. So something to think about there. My personal favorite there again is doing the DSR1 iData connection and going with whatever amp I want, or something we've also done in the past, it's really cool, is going with the Kenwood Exelon 6.600 DSP amplifier, and that's an AR compatible amplifier as well. Gives us one box in an AR, everything plugs in, you get DSP app right here through your phone, and then it has 4 outputs, so you could actually do active front, rear, and then you have 4 outputs left, so you can go off to their 1000 to power the subwoofer and get plenty of bass. So there's a couple options you may not have thought of. Babby, what's going on, Babby? These nuts. I gotta work tomorrow. Oh, well, that sucks. Snow is bad. Not a fan of snow. How did y'all like the JL Audio VXI amp? I loved it. There again, we're not a JL dealer, and I'm not a hater. So, if something's good, I'm gonna sit here and tell you something's good. That's, that's why we talk about all brands, just not the ones that we sell out of the retail store, because I don't care. If I like cool audio stuff, I'm like you guys. I'm a fan. If you give me something cool, I don't really care whose name's on the box. If it's cool, I'm gonna talk about it. A lot of people kind of don't like the VXI / the Fix and the Tweak and stuff like that, because it's like hard to use, sort of, maybe. I don't know. I just feel like you're just not experienced enough. Maybe the beginning with the little flow chart is a bit like, but once you figure it out, it's just like, oh, that makes total sense. That's why we did the video a couple weeks back on the Saturday show. We did the JL DSP. We kind of walked everyone through the basic setup of it to kind of make it easier. So if you've never seen that video, definitely go back and check it out if you're thinking about getting into the VXI amplifiers. My only complaint there, again, nothing is perfect in this world, and nothing is perfect in car audio. I'm not a big fan of the printer cables that they use for their preamp section. It was kind of like, it's kind of kludgy. I get it. It's definitely going to lock in place, so from that perspective, it's probably a good move, especially because, you know, you can go into boats and motorsports and all that other fun stuff, so it's going to be like nice and tight, not give anybody issues. But it just like, that's why if you look at the amp rack that I built, all the RCAs just kind of like go into that panel and disappear, because I made all my connections behind that where it wasn't just going to be ugly, and then I had them route out at the top. So, but no, I enjoy the amplifier. I love the software. It's one of the only amplifiers like the Kicker that is stackable. So if you wanted to add in multiple VXI amplifiers, you can, and still use one piece of software. It only took them 5 years to do what what Kicker did. But, you know, I like it. It's nice. Hi, sir. Hey, what's up? What do you got in the bay now? This is a, what is this, a Lexus 330 little SUV thing. One of these weird things. It's pimped out on some, like, it's interesting. What we're doing is they have a old school Sony Explode box that's in the back, and he bought one of these Pioneer 871 mono amplifier. So what we did is we took out the factory subwoofer. These are going to be heated up and bent into place so that they'll screw back down into the factory brackets. And then we found if you disconnect the battery and pull out the body control modules on the passenger side behind the glove box, there's actually a big grommet right there, and you cut a nipple off and you can run right through it. So we'll be coming up everything up the passenger side. The volume on the 330 is fixed, because we went back to the amplifier, which is behind the passenger rear seat, and it is, you know what, hang on, why talk when we can show? This thing is removable. Hold on. So we're going to come out of here. Back there you can kind of see that's one of the main wiring harnesses. We'll come up here, we'll come along here, and then we'll work our way up to the battery that's over here. And right now the battery is disconnected because we had to pull out these two body control modules so that we could get up into that area right there. And if you kind of look at the bottom of that plug, you'll see there's a hole. That was a nipple, and you just cut that nipple off and you can feed your power wire through there. Our amplifier is going to go there. Those are the two, that one and that one are the two factory mounting points. We have our subwoofer here because this is where the factory sub was. We're going to tap into these two wires. It is about 8 volts of output, so we're okay. It's not going to cause us any issues. And then the factory amplifier is located right here. So this is the back seat. You unscrew the locking tabs that are here and here, so you can slide these seats all the way forward. You pull all these clips off, and you can get to that factory amplifier. I haven't done one in a while, so I couldn't remember if it was variable voltage or not. This thing, it's like, God, it's so old. But check that first just to make sure, and it wasn't variable voltage, so we're just going to go high level off of the subwoofer. We already took the RTA to see what the signal looks like. That's why we know it's 8 volts, but that's what's going on in this. Flip this back around. All right. Fernando, I gave the day off. He had plans to do some stuff with his fam. So, you know, everybody wants Friday off, and we had already booked a bunch of work for Friday. So it's like, sorry, bro, you're not going to get the day off. So I was like, why don't you just take Wednesday off and have some fun? So that's where he's at. He's pretty excited to get a day off. We often do get excited to have a day off because we don't get many of them that we're not working. I mean, like Knowledge Fest and stuff like that, I guess is technically a day off from here, but we're still working. So we do get one vacation a year, so that's kind of nice. And you know, every now and then we'll take days off here and there, but it's not like you can call in sick. You know, you don't get that option. Let's see what we got. Do you need a DSP for a system? Replace my stock Sony amp with Aftermarket. You know, you don't need a DSP for anything. I mean, you could just do, you know, an amplifier, reamplify the speakers, but that just gives you, you know, if you want a custom tailor to make sure that it sounds the best of the best of the best, thank you. Having some form of control to do that is where the DSP comes into place. Now, a lot of people get excited about DSP because they're like, oh my God, it's got all these bells and whistles and things and it does stuff, and it's like, you know, and you get kind of overwhelmed at times, and that's totally understandable because it does a lot of stuff, but you don't necessarily need to use all that stuff. So for example, if you just want to use the basic EQ, so like a DSR1, it has basic, it has advanced. Dumb names, but the basic is just a 7-band equalizer for the whole system, which is 4 more bands than what your factory radio has. It's a comfort thing. You play with that a little bit, you figure out, hey, I can figure this out. And then you can turn on the front EQ. You can go into the advanced setting. You can either have it do speakers individually, so you can do right, left, or you can do front, and you can do rear. And so you can kind of learn as you go. The DSR1 is a great little DSP to learn as you go with. But there again, you don't, you know, crossovers, turn those on, you know, your amplifier, you have them. The nice thing about going with the DSP, if you don't have the Steve Mead SMD CCA1, you're pretty much guessing when you turn that dial on the crossover. So like if you want them to play at 80, yeah, you put it on that silk screen where it says 80, guess what? It's a lie. It's not really 80. Who knows what it is? It's just where, you know, they silk screened it on when the guy was doing the design for the amplifier. It's not gonna be 80, it's gonna be something else. So going with some form of an external DSP allows you to be like, I want it at 80, at 24 dB, or 12 dB, or 18 dB, or I wanna play it down to 50. You know, so you get a lot more control. That's all that it's about. You don't always have to use every feature that comes in the box. You just use the ones you're comfortable with, and then as you start to evolve your stereo, you start playing with more of those things. You know, I call it the keys to the city. You can tell anybody anything, but until they get and understand it, they're never gonna know what the hell you're talking about. Think of a kid, when you try to tell a kid, hey man, don't put your finger in the light socket, and he still puts his finger in the light socket, because he hasn't gotten shocked yet. Once he gets shocked, and he'll go, oh yeah, now I know why he told me not to do that. And maybe next time you tell him not to do something, he'll think, well, you know, like, he told me not to do that, and that hurt, so maybe I shouldn't. So it's kind of learn as you go, and don't be afraid to play and have some fun. The only bad thing you can do is blow speakers, but as long as you keep the volume at a normal level, you should be fine. You installed a full system in a car. The customer got the car only to return a few days later. He has changed all the settings on the amps, complaining that it does not sound right. What do you do? What do you do? It's real simple. So if we're doing a build where and this has happened before, believe it or not, we had a gentleman that had a car, we put a DSR1 in it. He immediately went home after we sat in the car for, I'm sorry, I'm looking for some stuff. Okay, I don't have it over here. He immediately, we talked, we thought we were on the same page. We're like, hey man, you know, I always tell people, look, if you want to play with something, go ahead, it's yours, have a good time. Try to save whatever it is we've set so that if you want to go back to it, you always can. And you know, with the DSR1, he didn't save it out, and it was one of the first ones we did. So naturally, as soon as we plugged in our phone, we lost all the settings on the DSR1. The stereo sounded terrible. He came back and he's like, it sounds like crap. And I went in and I was like, dude, you screwed with the whole thing. I mean, you know, what are you gonna do? So basically it's not the end of the world. It's just a matter of, it's like, okay, so you screwed it up. We're gonna charge you an hour. We're gonna go back. We're gonna set everything the way it was, and then that'll be that. You know, and it's not the end of the world. This is car audio. It's not brain surgery. We're not removing vital organs. So if it gets screwed up, it can all be fixed. It's just a matter of time. So, you know, stuff happens. It's not, you know, it's not that big of a deal. It's just a matter of like, okay, so it happens. Let's figure out what we need to do to get it back to where it was, and we'll move on. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, and hopefully, you know, I've dealt with people that when stuff like that, it's like it's the end of the frickin' world, and I totally get it, because when I was younger, I mean, car audio was like, dude, tomorrow, man, tomorrow's the day, I'm getting my stuff, oh my god, you're out of stock on it, You know, so I totally understand, but you know, it's just car audio. All right, we can make it all work out in the end. Pioneer Z Series component 110. There again, Z's, the new, the Z Series 10-inch is really nice. It's a nice, nice little compact 10-inch woofer. They finally went back to an actual 10-inch size instead of 11. And I think that really hurt Pioneer for a long time when they decided to go bigger, because their woofers wouldn't fit in any of the boxes that, you know, pre-manufactured boxes are. So for us, we moved on. We used to be exclusively selling the, you know, when they had the IB flats and stuff like that. That was all we carried. And then they went to that 11-inch driver, and because we don't build boxes, we buy them. You know, none of the stuff would fit. And I'm just like, I'm not routering out these holes to fit these 11-inch drivers, and it's just silly. There's got to be a better driver, and that's where we went off and we started. Like Phoenix Gold at the time had a really nice driver. We did a lot of A/B comparisons and was liked that, and then we found the kicker woofer. They came out with the Comp RT instead of the other one they have that I totally despise. And so it was like, oh, cool. So then we had options, and life was great. But, yeah, that particular one, now that they're back to the regular size, it's a nice driver, but we've kind of like gone down that road of the kicker or the Phoenix Gold, and I don't want to turn back because I'm really happy with the performance we get out of those. Panama City checking in. Love you guys' install. You're welcome. Hello. Car audio all the way, baby. Gotta work. Stupid snow. Yes, same, but same charge more. No, we just, I mean, I don't really want to punish anyone for trying to play with their stuff and thinking they know what they do. It's just, you know, time is money, and, you know, they have to, you know, we have to, it was fine when it left. If it was to break, that's one thing, but if you screwed it all up thinking that, you know, you knew better and you realized you didn't, well, you know, you paid us to do it once, and we did our job. Now you're going to pay us again to fix it. So, I have a question. Okay, hey, I have a question. Well, ask your question. Do 3D print some of your speaker adapters? No, we don't. 3D printing right now is still kind of slow, and it just takes too long. So everything we're doing is either routered or lasered. The laser is something new. We've only been doing that for about a month now, and it's proved to be an invaluable resource that I totally recommend. It's a stupid amount of money. I don't see why, but I don't also know what it costs to build one, but I assume it's expensive for what they charge us for the damn thing. So, and I feel what they charge you for it, they should give you some better software than they do, but they don't. But hey, whatever. Focal Axis Threeway components, full active with a Kenwood DSP and a 12 RAM, 15-ish. Should I use the 50x4 amp for rears and center channel, or the Rockford? Ooh, so are we talking about the Kenwood 50x4? Because it's a little bit more than that. 6.5 stores with no center channel. I'm running subs also. So all right, let me think about this for a minute. Center. So you have to do, I don't know if you can split up the channels in that on the back. I honestly don't remember if you can split 9 and 10 apart to do three-way front. And the sucky thing is you can't look at the app on your phone until you're connected to the DSP amplifier. So it's kind of dumb. But it sounds to me like that's a really nice system. I wouldn't necessarily worry about the center channel unless you're worried about doing a two-person car and you want to go through that whole nightmare of setting that up, because that's a lot harder. If you have a three-way component set, you can do a one-person car, which is for the driver, get all your time alignment, and it's way easier to set up. And honestly, the passenger's not going to appreciate it anyways for the most part. So no center is probably the way to go. Exelon, the Kenwood Exelon amplifiers are all phenomenal amplifiers. Doesn't matter which one you're looking at. They have that cool 1000 for the subwoofer, which is badass. We do that a lot of times with the Toyota, where we'll put the Dsp 600 underneath the driver or passenger front seat where the factory amp was, do all our connections there, and put the 1000 underneath the driver's front seat. If it's a three-way set, then we add a small 2-channel amp or 4-channel, depending on how loud you want it to be. So something to think about there. Remember, you can also mix and match channels. So for example, if you get the 4-channel Kenwood and you want to bridge it just to the mid bass so you get more power to the mid bass, You can do that. You can assign channels 1 and 2 tweeters, 3 and 4 mid-range. Channels 7 and 8 outputs can be front door mid-bass. 5 and 6 could be rear doors, and then of course 9 and 10 can be subwoofer. So you can have a lot of fun. Dean, you cooking turkey tomorrow? Heck no, I don't cook. I used to cook. I don't cook now. I suck at cooking. I burn shit. No, my buddy Artie's wife Daisy, she's an incredible cook. Her and her mom Kazumi are just like, bring it on, baby. That's why we invite ourselves. The question of a lifetime: CCA or OFC cables? It seems like that question is just going to get asked until the day car audio dies, which probably never. Here's the deal: copper-clad aluminum isn't what you want. Okay, copper-clad aluminum was brought out into the automotive world because copper was getting expensive, and they were like, "Hey, man, we need something else." So everyone's chasing zero, so they said, well, we used it in the home market for a little bit until they outlawed it and said you can't do that because it sucks. And so those same manufacturers decided to make it for car audio. The deal is copper's not a terrible conductor, but it's a terrible conductor for what we're trying to do. It also doesn't have the ability to hold the amount of current that a copper for the same size would do. So what you end up having to do is you sell 2 8-gauge kits, 1 CCA, 1 copper. That copper kit will handle a lot more amperage, let's say 60 amps, whereas that aluminum kit will only handle 30 amps. Well, they don't tell you that. They just put some BS rating on the box like 350 watts, whereas the copper is like 600 watts. But nobody pays attention to that because on the package it just says use 8-gauge. So you hook up 8-gauge and you quickly find out that, oh my God, it does like half the amount of current because you keep melting fuse holders, or you can get the wire so hot that it actually rolls around inside of the sheeting. It sucks. So if you're going to run CCA for whatever reason, you have to go up a size. So for example, if you need an 8-gauge, you have to use a CCA 4-gauge. Well, if you're going to do that, the price becomes very close to what an 8-gauge copper is, so there's really kind of no point. Now, I know a lot of guys in the SPO world might buy like rolls and rolls of CCA, and they'll do 500 runs of 0-gauge CCA, where they could have just done 250 runs of copper. Yes, you should buy oxygen-free copper. Period. End of story. Done. Don't ask me again. You will. It's okay. I'm just saying, case in point. Always want to run copper for what we're doing. That's it. Save yourself the headache. It's not that big of a price difference when you buy it right. All right, here we go. Poop, yeah. Looking at the Kenwood XR for upgrades to the 8.4 Uconnect and my 2016 Ram. They about the same price as anything else I'll be missing if I go with the 8.4 other than CarPlay wireless. Looking at the Kenwood XR to upgrade. Oh, okay. No, do the iData connection and call it a day. And yeah, it's an awesome radio. That's the one I have and I love it. Oh, there we go. I like Beavis and Butthead say CCA fire, fire. I'm Carnelio. I need TP for my bunghole. Are you threatening me? Paul is working you like... Okay, Paul is working like a sweatshop worker. It's a job. What DSP would you recommend? The one that works best for what you're trying to do. So when going out to buy a DSP, and I know this is kind of evasive, or not like I'm just gonna say buy this, because it's not the case. There is no perfect DSP. Period. End of story. There isn't. There's no DSP out there that's like, this is the one. No, this is the one for that situation, maybe, but it isn't the one for every situation. They do different things. So for example, how many inputs do you need your DSP to have? 2, 4, 6, 10? That's the first thing you want to look at. How many inputs are you going to need? You're just going to need 2? All right, well, 2 is the minimum. That's pretty much anything you want. Are you going to be adding anything else to it? So for example, do you need to do like source 1 and source 2? So like you want to run your factory radio or your aftermarket radio into the DSP, but you also want to maybe stream Bluetooth directly to it, which means you might want to find something that has a Bluetooth dongle built into it, and or something that will have an input for streaming input. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. Next, how many output channels do you need? Are you just doing like a just front, rear, sub, possibly center, 6 channels of discrete? That's important. 6 channels of discrete. Some DSPs aren't discrete, meaning they're pairs, and you can only work in pairs. A lot of them are like that. The more expensive you get, that kind of breaks that up. So like if you look at a DSR1, it's 8-channel DSP, but they're not discrete 8 channels. I mean, it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. You can't break them apart, so you can't do like center sub. It doesn't work that way. It will only do 8 channels. Like a DSP Mini from Helix, that's a 6-channel output. They can do front, center, front mids, sub, no rear, or you can go center, sub, left, front, rear. So there's a lot of combinations. Audio control, most of the more expensive ones are going to give you that option. So once you know that, now back to the input. Are you doing summing? Do you need something that has the capability to sum input? So you're going to have to like integrate into a factory radio. How many channels do you have to sum into it in order to get the full range output that you're going to need in order to get the sound out? When we were doing that Honda Accord, we needed 6 channels of input because essentially what we had is front tweeter, front mid, and sub. The sub we were going to leave on its own because the front mid played down low enough to where it was at the crossover point. It played down past 80 hertz, so we're okay. We don't need to add in the subwoofer. We just needed the tweeter and the mid-range. So 6 channels of input, but we also had 10 channels of output. 10 or 12. It was a lot. It was 10 channels. We also needed 10 channels of output because we were going full active all the way around. Full active up front, full active in the rear. So there was tweeter mid-range in the door, tweeter mid-range in the rear deck, center, and sub. And you needed to keep the center because, that was the other thing. It allows you to do 6 discrete inputs. So 5 was center, 6 was sub. That was one of the things that we needed, and it was like trying to find a DSP that did that. So that's why we went with the Alpine, because it has 6 discrete inputs and it has 12 discrete outputs. So that's what you need to look at. Once you figure out, okay, maybe there's 2 or 3 DSPs that fit the bill, then you go and you look at the software. Are you a Mac user or are you a Windows user? That's a big deal, because if you're a Mac guy and you only got a Mac laptop, well, that narrows that playing field down to like a few, and that's it. Some of them are iPad only. So like the DSR1 is iPad. The kicker is Windows or iPad if you buy the expansion module. The audio control, there again, iPad, Windows, or Mac. JL Audio, Windows or Mac. So there's options. So you have to go out. 8 channels of output. So there you go. That's a lot. Now, most DSPs will have 8 channels of output. But figure it out, and that's what you want to do. Do truck blow-throughs sound good? Yes, they do. They sound really good. However, it kind of kills the resale value of the truck. If you're like Doug and you're going to keep your truck forever and ever and ever, by all means, do a blow-through. You'll love it. Aaron used to work at PAC, now owns Havoc Motorsports for motorcycles and stuff. He has big Dodge Ram. He's got a big blow-through. He's going to have that truck till he dies. It's a diesel. It's okay. Or someone that actually falls in love with it. Sure, you could probably keep the metal panels and find someone to weld those things back in, but really? I mean, yeah, I guess you could kind of hide them behind a bed liner and carpet. It's up to you. But yes, they do sound amazing. You just got to make sure you can find that good accordion boot and silicone the accordion boot into place, because it will leak otherwise. And put the seam on the bottom. Hang on. Hate all the guys that talk crap, have people that hate Rockford. Life is to hate, apparently, and I live by a couple mottos in my life. One of them is, if you're not on my team, you suck. I don't necessarily believe that, but I know that's the major consensus of the world. If you don't believe what I believe, then you're the enemy. So if you're not on my team, you suck. It pertains to just about everything, whether you're an Apple user, an Android user, or a Windows user, whether you like the Steelers or don't like the Steelers, a city, Coke or Pepsi. So there's so many things that it's like we just won't budge on, which I find silly because it just narrows your experience in life. I feel that you should be willing to try just about everything, and then if you try it and you decide you don't like it, well, that's okay, but at least you tried it, and then you can see like, hey, I didn't like it, but you might. It's okay. I'm not gonna prejudge what you're gonna like and dislike. So I was looking at Derek, old school car stereo, Big D Wiz, just him and Vega went over and got to do the kicker tour. So Kip from Kip and Dave took him on a tour around the facility. They got to meet Steve Irby. They put up some really cool pictures. He just put up his video the other day and nicely linked to our video. We obviously had a little different experience than they did because we were a dealer and we had plans and stuff like that. But, you know, he got an awesome tour and they had a great time. And reading over some of the comments, I found it humorous that some people were like, you know, Kicker is sold out. And it's like, dude, how did they sell out? I mean, everybody's made overseas now, period. I mean, for the most part. I mean, Audio Control still makes stuff up in Washington, which we're going to see. That's why we're going, is to show that cool stuff. But, I mean, you look at JL Audio, what do they make here? Yeah, sure. Oh, no, they might make something here in the U.S. They don't make their amps here. All that stuff is made, there again, in China. They got one guy that sits and watches out of Texas. It's a whole nother story. So, you know, everyone is made. Oh, if you're going to say, well, you know, I get my Korean boards, you know, it's like, what are you talking about? You know, just because somebody's assembled in China, they bought all the parts from China. They didn't buy them. You know, it's like, there again, I'm sure someone's going to say, hey, they buy all the parts. Korea makes parts. Sure, everyone makes parts. But, you know, talking with Kicker, it's like there's 5 companies to make one amplifier because they're getting specific things. They have engineers that design. There's 34 engineers that work at Kicker to design products. They have 100% control over what goes into those amplifiers. They design the circuit board. They don't buy anything that they don't want, okay? And someone's out there saying that they're sellouts, and it's like, dude, shut up. I mean, give me a break. I mean, you know, and these manufacturers know what the hell they're doing. Yeah, whatever. Anyways, it's a sore topic. Lima, Peru. Nope, cardio is rocket surgery. Well, okay, it's not brain surgery, but it could be rocket surgery. That's for sure. Oh gosh, I keep doing that. Is Tosh Link the best way to go? No, and yes. So if you're just gonna go out of your source unit into your DSP, there's no noise. Okay, there's no engine noise. There's no noise that's gonna come over that cable. It's light. Okay, it's just blinky light. So you don't have to worry about any engine noise. That's not to say that your source unit and or your DSP doesn't have noise. It's just you're not gonna get any noise over the cable. Okay, if you have a 9000 series RCA or an 8000 series RCA from Stinger, it's just as clean. Okay, it's just as clean. If you have a product that has crappy DACs in them or converters from audio to light, there again, could suffer. Is it the end-all be-all? By no stretch of the imagination. Is it a really cool way to go? Yes, like the full DA system we did in the Raptor. I mean, dude, seriously? It was like Class A front end on the tweeters, all digitally. There's no RCAs in the car whatsoever. I mean, it was like, it sounded so clear. It was like, what the hell? You know? Literally, it was, both Fernando and I were sitting in the car going, I looked at him like, he was like, because it was so clear, there was no break apart. It was insane. However, if you don't have sources to play on it, well, then it's, you know, if all you're playing is iTunes and Spotify and Pandora, what do you got? You know, if you're gonna go download some DSD files, some FLAC files, 192, stuff like that, then yeah, totally, it's definitely the best. But there again, your source has to play that for one. You know, we got those Moscone pieces that we've showed the last couple days because they have a Toshlink output, so I can plug it directly into my DSP. I have a huge library of DSD/FLAC files that I'm going to play from my iPad on it. That's going to be cool. But there again, if you don't have the repository of stuff, it might not be worth the extra money. It's up to you. I have a 95 Impala SS with 2000 watt system. I installed the VS power, big amp, big battery, high output alternator, and did the big 3. You can do that on that car. The issue I'm having is the headlights are dimming. Do I need a second battery? Yes, you do. Basically, if the headlights are still dimming, you need a bigger reserve. You need a bigger lake, lake to draw the water from. So batteries store power. Basically what's happening is you're still redlining the system, meaning you have a big alternator. You might not have a big enough place to store all that, so you're still mainlining off of the alternator. That's just a term I like to use, where the alternator is still powering the system and the battery isn't big enough to store all the power that your system is requiring, especially at nighttime with the headlights on. and the air conditioning going and all the fun things, the heater, whatever, heater right now. So yeah, more battery, better day for you. Is there any downside to grounding an amp to an existing ground bolt in the back wall of a 19 F-150 or going directly to the batteries? Negative. All right. For those of you who have never heard me say this before about an F-150 that has an aluminum body, the only way to ground it is to go to the battery, period, end of story. But the reason is why? Why is that possible? Why do we need to do that? A couple reasons. Let's look at the build of the car. For one, it's aluminum. It's all right, we're back. I'm sorry. Someone tried to call my phone. Anyways, so the F-150 is all glued together. It has very few rivets, so the connecting points, even though a big piece of aluminum like that should be a pretty decent conductor, it's not, because it's just not all touching really well. All right, so that sucks. Now you're saying, but there's a ground bolt. There's actually two. There's one on the driver's side, there's one on the passenger side in the back there that are just like beautiful looking ground bolts. In any other situation, you'd be salivating over these ground bolts because they're literally like 18 inches away from the amplifier, and it's just like, oh, yes. However, now what you have to think about, because we're dealing with an aluminum frame car, think of it like going to the fuse box to connect your amplifier's main power to. The reason why we don't do that is because there's not enough amperage or power wire size coming into that fuse box. So that fuse box may have just an 8 gauge going into it, which is going to power the whole car. All right. That grounding point in the back is the same thing. There's an amperage draw rating on that. So you put an amplifier in, and let's say if it's a 60 amp fuse, it's drawing 60 amps of current, both positive and negative. It's the same on both. We just fuse the positive because the car is a ground. So we're gonna, so boom, spark, it just blows that. You could put a fuse on the ground, it wouldn't do the same thing. So anyways, that ground bolt in the back of the car is going to be a low amperage draw ground. So when Ford designed that, they may be like, we only need 10 amps of ground. It can have this much resistance. So it could have like 1 ohm resistance, and it'll put out 10 amps back there, and the module that's connected to it is perfectly okay. All right, because it's almost like a fuse at that point. We go to hook our amplifier up to the strong 60 amps. It's a 10 amp rated ground. Guess what? We've done the same thing as going into the fuse box and hooking up to a small amperage output circuit there. Bad things will happen. So, will it work for one amplifier with maybe a 35, 40 amp draw? Yeah, it'll work. How long? I don't know. Practice safe. Go right to the battery. Done deal, end of story. Stinger makes the new marine wire that you can get that's dual runs of 8 gauge and dual runs of 4 gauge. They sell a whole 20-foot kit that comes with a circuit breaker. I hate circuit breakers, so we buy it by the roll, or just buy, matching power and ground off the roll from whoever. Doesn't matter. But yes, go directly to the battery. Do yourself a favor. The other thing too is if you're going to add any form of processor or anything like that down the road, you have to go to the battery, because the ground reference for a DSP back there, forget it, man. I can't tell you how many stories I've read about people that have put DSP amplifiers or DSPs in the back and try to ground it to that aluminum frame and blown up the DSP. Just sounds miserable. Funny noises. Yeah, I was going there. When you put in a nav TV A to B piece, you'll also, in the instructions, it tells you straight up, go to the battery. Done. So, okay, we've hammered that one home, I think. Only cooking car stereo, right? I know it's a preference and a common question. What do you prefer and why? Sealed or ported? I like ported because I like boomy bass. One of my favorite subwoofers of all time has been the P3 driver, because it is a fat, boomy sound. It's one of the things I feel Rockford is really good at. That's not to say other woofers don't do it, but when I say I like something, there's usually a lot of things behind it, as far as like the availability, the esotericness of it, what is the price point, how obtainable is it. So like if I just go and grab a $400 SPL woofer and put it in a car, yeah, it's gonna be fat, it's gonna boom, it's gonna do all these fun things. I find it sometimes when you find a more inexpensive, reasonably priced, more obtainable woofer that does things that you want, is kind of like a bonus, because it's real easy to make an expensive something do great things, but it's kind of more difficult to make a lesser expensive thing do great things. And I think a P3 does amazing things in a ported box. There again, not for everyone, because not everyone wants a ported enclosure. Is it worth to replace the stock head unit if going with a Zapco DSP? No, not as long as you can get a good signal out of the source unit into the DSP, or use the de-equalization circuit on the Zapco. Rock on, man. It'll sound great. I'm not a fan of replacing the radio if I don't have to. I mean, if I can get what I need out of the factory radio, it's staying. I'm good. I don't need to pull it out. You know, all the F-150s we do, people are like, no, you're cool. Just keep it. We can make it work. You know. So yeah. All right. Yeah. DSP Mini. DSP Mini is awesome. We were just talking about it. I actually have one here. Hang on. So this is the DSP Mini we were just talking about. It does have the TouchLink input, so if you're going to be using it for something like that, as well as 4 channels of input. That's the only thing this has is 4 channels of input. So if you're inputting it into something that has more than 4, you need to do some of your stuff, this isn't the one to have. But now it does have a controller though, so you can use it as a standalone unit. It doesn't come in the box, you have to buy it extra. But yeah, it's cool. The software, download the software, because that's really the key. It's a pretty cool unit to play with, that's for sure. And I like the center channel upmixing. I think it's the most affordable DSP on the market right now that offers you center channel upmixing. So if that's something you're looking to do, definitely want to consider that. Would it be wiser to go with the Rockford Fosgate 1005 or 2 amps? I personally like the 404 and the 750.1. I'm not a big fan of the 1005 for most situations. If I'm doing a small thing where I'm going with lesser speakers and let's say a 10, the 1005 is good. But most of the time when we go Rockford, we're doing T2s. And the power that the 404 has, I feel, even though it's on paper, it's the same power. No, it's not. It's not. It's way nice. Jersey in the house. What's going on? Afternoon, sir. Hey, hello. Best way to integrate into a 2017 Accord without cutting and into the OME plug. So 2017 Accord, go to metroonline.com, type in 2017 Accord, go to the access portion of it where it talks about their DSP. Don't worry about their DSP, just buy their T-harness. The T-harness will plug right into that Accord. And then we have a video that shows you how to integrate a T-harness. A couple of them actually. But yeah, you can just boom, done. You don't have to cut anything. It's sexy, super awesome. God, why do I keep doing that? I keep scrolling up to text and it's kind of annoying. It all comes down to them being sold in Walmart. Are you serious, bro? Okay, I'm not even gonna read the rest of that because that comment alone pisses me off beyond belief, because every person on this thing has bought something at Walmart, okay? You can buy iPhones, you can buy Galaxies, you can buy Sony TVs, you buy the butt wipe you use to wipe your butt and the food you use to shove down your throat. Everything that you can buy anywhere, you can buy at Walmart, okay? So Kicker's selling in Walmart 13 of their, was it 1,600 products? Give me a freaking break. That's the lamest ass excuse I've ever heard. All you guys out there that love the PRS-80 is Pioneer. How many years did Pioneer sell to Target, Walmart, and Kmart? All of them. I have yet to hear one person tell me how bad Pioneer sucks, but they're all being sold in those places. So really, Kicker decides that, hey, we're gonna make some unique pieces that we can sell in mass merchants, and all of a sudden they're bad. Best Buy, let's be real, they got over 1,000 stores. What makes them so damn special? They're a mass merchant too. Everybody sells there. I don't hear anyone complaining about it. I mean, where'd you buy your big screen TV from? Costco, Target, not Target, BJ's, Sam's. You bought it there. Why? Mass merchant. They had the best deal. I don't hear anyone complaining that they bought their 65-inch big ass TV from Samsung from a big, one of those places. No. Where's everyone going to be on Friday? Hanging out at Walmart to buy some garbage that they put at a discounted price. And you're going to sit here and tell me that Kicker sucks because of it? That's the lamest ass thing I've ever heard. Yes, I've cussed more than because it just pisses me off. That's so dumb. I mean, not mad at you in general. I'm just mad at that comment because it doesn't make any sense. You want to hear a funny story about Walmart? Okay, we want to talk about Walmart and all their silliness. I used to work for Procter & Gamble, so that was my joyous growing up and learning mass merchants and all this other fun stuff. Man, Walmart went to Vlasic Pickles and said, hey man, we want our pickles to look bigger in your jar. Vlasic said no. Well, one thing led to another, but let's just say Walmart got what they wanted from Vlasic, you know. So it's not always the greatest move to go into these places. I mean, it sucks sometimes, but it's also a guarantee. You know, when you talk to somebody like Scosche, Pack, Metra, all these guys want to be in those places because it's a guaranteed deal. You're going to sell 1 million of these products. So, you know, you go into you can buy Metra dash kits, you can buy Scosche wiring harnesses. Ain't nobody yelling at those guys. You know, Dual sucks, so everyone's like, yo, Dual's in there, so but they suck anyway. So, I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't go out and buy toilet paper and then go, oh man, they're selling at Walmart. I can't wipe my butt with that anymore. It's no good. I'm out. No. You know, eating your Tortino's pizza rolls that you bought from Walmart. Oh, they suck now. You know, come on. Grow up, people. I'm damaging my aftermarket amp if I use the output from a factory radio or from a factory amp. No, not necessarily. So if you're using a factory amp going into your aftermarket radio, or if you're using the factory amp's output to go into your amplifier, a couple things you need to know. First, like on this Pioneer. This Pioneer will accept high-level input over the RCAs, but it has a voltage limitation. Anything over 10 volts is going to be bad for this input. That means you have to go with some form of output, high-level to low-level adapter that will handle above 10 volts of output. Now, if you don't do that, then what you end up with is this. This is a high-level to low-level adapter that got put into a 20-volt system, and this is like a, I don't know, maybe 10 volt. Yeah, this is a 10 volt high level to low level adapter. By the time we got to it, it already started melting into the car. That's what you see here. That's the shiny part. So bad things can happen. Now, if your amplifier, factory amplifier, is within the voltage output like this one had a factory amplifier that's going to be powering the factory sub, we're going to tap into that. We tested it. It has like 8 volts of output, so we're good. This has 10 volts of input. High level into it, so we're rocking. Now, if I have an amplifier that does not have high-level input through either the RCAs or a secondary plug, and I just think I'm going to put some RCA and plug it in, and it will only take, let's say, 5 volts of input, bye-bye amplifier. You're just going to melt the preamp stage. So you just have to figure out what you want. Howdy, Cody. What's going on? Do you recommend capacitors ever? I kind of want the 10 farad one from Rockford. I like the 10 farad one from Rockford. I've put that in a couple dozen times over the years. They've been making it for a really long time, which I think means that they ordered a lot of them and they just don't sell that well. It's nice. It's cool. I don't mind it. Personally, most of the time when you look at the spray paint cans of, those are spray paint cans with, you know, voltmeters on them. If you need a voltmeter, it's kind of cool. I'm not going to tell you not to buy the Rockford thing. It works. It does its job. It's pretty. And it looks really neat. Thank you for the info on the F-150. Oh, no problem. Hello. Let's see. Hello. Thanks for explaining. They can sell whatever they want as long as they stand behind their products. Exactly. And as far as that goes, if you guys watch the video, you know what they do as far as returns and as far as repair. They do them in-house. Okay? So, and they stand behind their products. Very few people do that, you know? So, can't fault them for that. Oh my gosh. We are here because of the love for car audio. It shouldn't matter where you bought it. I agree. Crutchfield describes the Kicker L7 as supremely accurate bass. I've never heard one. How do you feel about them? It's definitely loud. Supremely accurate bass. Huh. You know, it's one of those things when you buy a woofer like that, I never really think of it as supremely accurate bass. I suppose if it's in a sealed box, you will get supremely accurate bass, but I'm not buying that woofer for that. I'm buying it for devastation and destruction, and I want it to do those, and it does that very well. So from my opinion, it should say something like that. It's devastating and destructing sound quality, will blow you out of your seat. That's probably a better way to look at it. Anthony's in the house. Check him out on YouTube. It's Kicker, bro. They're Kicker. All right, guys, listen, thanks so much for playing along today. Remember, tomorrow, 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do this will be year number 4, I think, where we go out and we take you guys to the beach, we show you someplace warm, and we go on and we answer your questions. We talk about fun stories. It's me, it's Fernando, it's Haley. We have a good time. We hope you do too. It's at 10, so it's early enough before all the family festivities and craziness starts. we just talk car audio so we can talk about the one thing we love. And Haley's there. We're going to have fun with Haley, by the way. I'm planning on throwing her a lot of the stuff just to tease her because it seems like a good idea. And I know she's not watching, so we're all good. But otherwise, if we don't see you tomorrow or you don't get to chime in tomorrow and say hi, which is cool, we really appreciate just to say hi. Take us to the Dunedin Brewery. I miss that place. I don't drink, bro. But yeah, definitely tune in tomorrow if you can. If not, we understand. You guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to get back to work. I got to get this thing done. We'll see you next time tomorrow. Bye. We're live and it's Friday. Fernando.
Yes, it is.
Back, happy to be back at work?
Yeah.
You had 2 days off, man. That's like a holiday. It's like a crazy holiday. Yeah, how often do we get 2 days off in a row? And you got it, I didn't. But, you know, whatever, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got the time off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Good.
Hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I'd like to say, I did. I went to Artie's, had a good time. Poor Fernando did not have such a great time. Kids were sick. Kids, he had projectile vomiting for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And they didn't even eat bad food. Iowa in the house. What's going on, everyone? Happy Thanksgiving. Support the love and motivation. Love watching every video, man. Love life-changing motivation. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Life-changing motivation. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for the support.
Definitely. Speaking of support, one of the buttons I want to press real quick that's driving me crazy is right behind me. Let me show you guys. So if you guys are familiar, we just got done doing that F-150 with a big system in it. And one of the things we made was these tweeter pods right here to hold the tweeters up in the A-pillars. And so now that we've actually got them done, we don't need to go through the heartache of setting it up anymore. Cool thing about Glowforge is it stores all that information. So we made an extra one, which is this guy right here. It's designed to sit here. Well, there's a fat end and a skinny end. It goes like this. Sits like that. And the nice thing is the tweeters we're getting ready to put in, which is these cool KS tweeters from Kicker. They fit right in. I mean, awesome. So I don't even have to change the diameter of the hole or anything. They'll just go right in like that. There's some screws that attach to the backside. We're making them out of 1/8 inch because this one we actually had to plane down to fit the bigger tweeter we were putting in. So this one actually, with this, it sits farther away. We're golden. So 60 seconds, I'll have 2 tweeter pods to put into this car. Look at that, 20 seconds, 15 left. Let's see what the old Glowforge is killing right there. One of them was already done. Ooh. Got one little hole left to make. And that's it. It's gonna cool down. And our tweeter brackets are done. Isn't that awesome?
That simple?
That was that simple. Ooh, another thing too. One of you, I can't remember who it was, but they sent us these cool things to keep Fernando's arms from getting cut up while he's putting in roadkill.
This is awesome, look.
And there we go. So he's using them today. No cuts, no scratches. They are a little hot. They're a little hot.
Yeah.
But you won't be bleeding.
I'm good with that.
Yeah. So that's pretty awesome. All right, let me move this little laptop out of the way here. Open this guy up. Just do that. Take this out of the way. Bang out the little hole here. Check its fit. There we go. Perfect fit. Screw holes line up. Tweeter goes away. Usually what we do is when we make one now, obviously we take either the sample or the or we've made an extra one so we can check. And then this will just hey, can you spin this for me? Just spin it on there.
I'm getting gloves, man. I can't.
I know. You saved my life in so many ways. Now, thanks for Oh, hey, you're welcome, man. That's so cool. Thank you, Robert. And that's it. Look at that. So we have it. Now, looking at this, I'm probably going to cut these little tabs off here. See how they stick up? So I can actually flip this around the other way, just because I don't like the way that looks. Just personal preference. But for all intents and purposes, there we go. That's it. We're done. Now we are going to add a little bit of foam around this like we usually do so that we can push that sound in through the tweeter. But all we got to do is screw it on. Now we have a perfect fit. Factory, yay. So here's the factory tweeter here. Has the same mounts. Boom. Gosh. Totally worth the money. Totally worth it. I have a 2012 CTX. I put bass in, and when I close the door, I get feedback, and I used the LP72. Should I use the LC2I? So what you're getting is the speaker that, where did you hook it up? What's happening is the speaker is moving. So if you attach it to the factory subwoofer, unplug the factory subwoofer, and that should solve the issue. The speaker that you hooked it up to is moving, and when that speaker moves, it's sending DC current back into the line, and that is what you're hearing is that move. It's either that or it has ANC mics and you're hearing that, which I doubt. I'm thinking it's just the movement of the speaker. Sometimes if you grab, let's say, a front speaker like here, every time you shut the door, that speaker moves a little bit. It feeds back through the line. If you guys want to have a good time and play a little bit of fun, grab a light bulb and a subwoofer, big subwoofer, push the subwoofer down and the light bulb will light up. I know, right? Pretty cool. But yeah, check to see which speaker you have it connected to. Hi guys, when using the DD1 to set max volume on deck, do you set the treble and bass to max or flat? What about subwoofer level? So you want to, a couple different things you can do here. First off, never set anything to max because you're going to call, it's not made to be played at max. Depending on what your gain overlap is going to be, setting it to where you're normally going to have it is not a bad thing. So if you're going to have, if you have, let's say, bass up 1, treble up 4, and that's how it's always going to be, yeah, setting your gains using it that way is perfectly fine because you're already maxing it out, and so this is the normal thing. Now, if you're going to be moving it up and down constantly, then what you might want to do is put it at 0. And then when you're doing your gain overlap, maybe just do 5 instead of 10, because when you're adjusting that bass and treble, you're adjusting more volume into the system, which is going to cause distortion quicker. As far as the subwoofer goes, there again, we typically set them where we're going to be playing them. So if there's a bass boost on there, it goes up to 12. We'll typically set it at halfway up because we know that they're going to be doing that. And there again, we're going to do a 5 dB boost or gain overlap instead of a 10 because there's still 6 more volume clicks on the radio dial, which will give us more power output. The thing about the subwoofer is because it's got such a big motor structure, it can handle a lot more abuse as far as clipping and distortion goes that the smaller speakers can't. Hope that answered that question. Flat subcontrol, maxed out, unplugged. Definitely never have a speaker connected when you're doing a DD1 test. That's a good way, and not your crossovers either. So don't have anything hooked up to the output of the amplifier other than the DD1, because you will roast some speakers. Ask us how we know. Don't really, it's simple. But if you want to light up a speaker, that's the best way to do it. Play a 1 hertz test tone through a tweeter. You'll melt that sucker so fast. It'll be wonderful.
Nope.
Did you win? He's trying to win radio tickets. I know, right? Yeah. It's like a John Cusack movie. What's that? Not So Crazy Summer or One Crazy Summer or some silly thing like that. Throwing it way back. Did you ever see that one?
No.
Had Bobcat Goldthwait in it. There was a crazy guy throughout the whole movie that was trying to win tickets.
Uh-huh.
And then at the end of the movie, he won the tickets, or he won the money.
Uh-huh.
But something happened to the radio tower, so he shot the radio tower with a cruise missile.
Oh.
And blew it up. It was pretty funny. You should go to Teespring and buy some new 5-star shirts. Yeah, definitely. Right now, if you're doing Black Friday, if you're a Black Friday buyer, right now, Teespring does have a lot of Black Friday deals. I think you can get 10-20% off, something like that. So definitely want to head over to Teespring if you want to pick up a Teespring. Dude, will you be offering these pods for sale online? Dean and Fernando. So it's funny you should mention that. Fernando and I were talking about that today. It's definitely something we're definitely something probably. That doesn't even make sense. It's definitely something we're going to be looking into next year for sure. We're just trying to figure out how we're going to handle the different diameters of the tweeters. So like in this case, the diameter of the tweeter we just used in compared to the Voce tweeters we put in the other day, they just so happen to be the exact same size. But if you have a smaller tweeter or a bigger tweeter, we have to have a way to compensate for that. So it's going to be interesting. We have to figure out how to do that. How are you moving on the install kits? We're not at all. That kind of just, and I blame myself for that. It just kind of fell flat. They sent us the ferrules that they have, but the biggest size ferrule they have is for like maybe a 16 gauge wire. So we're gonna have to go and figure out how they can get like 0 gauge and 4 gauge wires and stuff like that. So might not be the best idea for us to get involved in that. We haven't figured it out yet, but it's just, we've just been so hectic and crazy here. It's just kind of fallen by the wayside. Is there a harness for keeping the factory sub and a 1996 Ford Explorer with an aftermarket Alpine deck? Okay, it depends on the Ford Explorer. So yes, the basic Ford harness for that should have a factory subwoofer adapter plug that you can buy. It's a small black harness that comes with a gray harness. However, some of those no, because it's a 96. But yeah, I haven't seen a 96 in so long. But yeah, there should be a way to, it shouldn't be anything special. All right, hold on. How would you install the third speaker in a three-way system in a 13 Ford? I have the dash location, I have the tweeter and the A's, and I have a 6.5 in the doors. Ford what? We're talking F-150? I don't have the dash location, so I'm thinking it's an F-150. So you're gonna have to make some kind of a custom pod. That's where you see all these guys doing like A-pillars or sail pillars, sail pods. That is the area here. Hold on. That's this area here on the door panel. So when this door closes, you have this spot here. You may want to move the tweeter to this spot and then build a pod here for the bigger three-way to go there. You know, trying to shoehorn both of them into a door panel probably isn't going to work out so well. But that's why everyone's building these A-pillars and sail panels, is so that they can put that big three-way set up here. It's not always ideal, but that's what you're going to probably have to do. Now, if you go on to, what is it, Aldi, and I don't mean the grocery store, like Alibaba, they do sell, you can type in, I don't know what the search for that would be, but they do sell pre-made A-pillar mounts, so you can just attach them to your A-pillar and do some body work, and then have them upholstered so you don't have to build a whole bunch of crazy stuff. What pack have, okay. Here we go. Man, almost a year ago now, I was driving through Tampa too. I powder coated and wet paint rims. I had to install 4 brand new, okay. Wow, Twisted Sound 15s. I gotta look at those. A lot of you guys keep talking about. Hi from Brazil, Americar in the house. What's going on, man? A semi-truck decided to remove my Yukon Denali. Dang, that sucks. It shattered the left leg. Oh, shattered your left. Ooh, that sucks way worse. Now I have, wow, big metal plate. That sucks. I have another Bluetooth DSP besides. Is there another Bluetooth DSP besides auto control? Yes, most of the DSPs have Bluetooth options for them. So I know some of the Moscone stuff you can buy the Bluetooth add-on. The ARCs you can buy the Bluetooth add-on for, I believe. The Helix, you could definitely buy a Bluetooth add-on for that. The Phoenix Gold is Wi-Fi. They skipped right past Bluetooth and went directly to Wi-Fi, which makes the range on that incredible. That's a whole system. So like the Q class, which is what's going in this, they sell the little module that will do Bluetooth that you plug into the amplifier that allows you to program it through that. And that'll program up to 4 amplifiers. Hi from Mexico. So yeah, there's definitely plenty of them out there that will allow you to do Bluetooth programming as well as stream music. Is that what you're asking, is streaming music? Because if you're just trying to stream music over Bluetooth, you really only need a DSP that has an auxiliary input. So like a DSR1 has an auxiliary input. You just need a Bluetooth dongle to plug into it. So it depends what you're trying to do. Right?
Yeah, correct.
There he is, right there. The man, the myth, the Fernando. Cool, right? All right, guys, that's it for today. We're going to get back to work. We got to get on this, kicking on this F-150. It showed up late today because he was having car trouble, so we took a couple cars ahead of it. but we got to get this thing done because it's got to go home hopefully tomorrow. Rampage subwoofer. Rampage, that's some Rockford stuff. What's y'all's thought? I'm looking at getting one. It's affordable Rockford, that's all it is. How is the Forza 8.9? It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. We did a review of the Forza where we showed in our Saturday DSP class. We took the Forza software and broke it down for you, showed you how it all works.
Yep.
There is one sitting right there, that box that's open. That's a Forza right there. It's pretty awesome stuff. 8 channels with the 0.9 output to go to your sub amp. So it's really sweet.
Yeah.
Really nice. I like it. I like it a lot. The software is pretty simple to use. Just did an update on it, which is really nice.
I said I like it like that.
I need to replace my wife's Eclipse. Check out a Kenwood. Pioneer 4500. Yeah, I would go with the Kenwood for sure. Pioneer's nice. It's easy to use. A lot of people like the getting that just lined up perfect. A lot of the, I will say, I've had women tell me that they do like the operating system in the Pioneer. It's nothing against them. It's just they like, it's simpler to use than the Kenwood. I had a guy tell me that last week. He's like, his wife hated his Kenwood because she couldn't figure it out. I don't know. Whatever works for you. I mean, to me, it's volume up, volume down, right? Mm-hmm. All right. All right, guys, we're going to let you go. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a wonderful day.
Don't forget.
Tomorrow. It's tomorrow Saturday.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
6 o'clock.
Yep.
We'll be live again for the live show. More questions, more fun. Here we go. All right, guys. See ya. I know what you're thinking, and you'd be correct. Not you. The live people. The people's on live, because I was just right here showing the emblem.
Oh, yes.
As this is the shocker. We go from one F-150 to the next.
Hey, man. Jeeps and F-150s.
Yep. Oh, hello, Haley. How are you doing? You gonna say hi?
Hi, Haley.
You're such a goof. All right. I just want to tell you guys something. So see that stool right there? Okay, so we got this so that, you know, for the taller vehicles, you can get up into the hood easier. And I'm not gonna lie, I've used it before. But see how close his bucket is to it? Guess who just met pavement and was checking out the undercarriage of the car? I'm sitting in there connecting the radio, and I look out, and I just see his head go whoop, and I hear bump. I'm like, hey, man, you check out the undercarriage of the car? He's like, yeah, it's good. It's good. Doesn't need an oil change. No leaks.
No.
I was just happy it wasn't me, because I wouldn't be getting up as quick as he did. 2 amps, 1 DSP. Would use 3 separate grounds or use one using distribution block? If it's something like this that has an aluminum chassis, I'm going to, use one big ground come up to here. If it's something like a car that has a nice, good, solid steel frame, I'm going to go ahead and run 3 grounds unless I'm trying to do something that is pretty. But practically wise, I'm doing 3 grounds. Would you agree, Fernando?
Yes.
All right. Working on my F-150 today. Well, hot damn, Brian. Kicking it out. All right, so what we got here is, of course, our Stinger marine wire that we often talk about. It is the red and yellow because this is aluminum. This is just getting a 4-gauge installed in it. You can do your thing. Let's take a look inside. Hey, look, it's the Ninja Paul. So this is getting our favorite little 5-channel, which is the Kicker Q-Class 1005. It's, of course, going to be hooked up high level to the factory radio. We do a little bit of fun here with the colors. Kind of looks like something from the 70s. A little bit of rainbow action going on. The signal, of course, goes over here. Power comes down and around. Bass knob follows it around. So power on this side. And then as far as the bass knob goes, now that we've had some fun, we got the laser. It's much easier to replicate this shape. So we've gone ahead and added the Q-Class subwoofer controller here. Black plexi, contoured to fit. And, the reason why we had it before is because it's a really complex shape, believe it or not. So this is the mock-up that we did. As you can see, you got a nice round angle here. And then this is not square either. This is actually at 5 to 8 degrees. So you have this really weird shape happening. So now that we have that, it was easy enough just to change the opening to this. And then if we ever need to take this out, we can just cut a blank and stick it in place, because we did have to cut the back out of this and then out of the piece behind it to have it go through. Of course, we put the little 5-star logo right there in the corner, nice and silly. We're getting ready to put the dash back together here, so our signal comes in. You can kind of see the blue wire right there from the speed wire. We have our 2 LGDs. One is lined up here in the front, and then the other one is right there where you see the green wire, so it's going that way. Think of like a T shape. We have our 2 Kicker KS crossovers mounted in the dash. Tweeters are in. We had to make pods, but are the little brackets that we make. We showed you those yesterday. And if you missed that, don't worry, you'll be able to check it out on Monday when we do the rebroadcast on over there on YouTube. Anthony is in the house. What's going on, buddy? Loving your channel. If you guys want to watch a vlog, check out Ant-Man Knows Audio, but that's not the name of the channel. But if you go onto YouTube, type that in, I'm sure it'll be there. As far as subwoofer goes, nothing too crazy. He's just getting the Kicker Comp R preloaded box. There again, apparently people want 10s and F-150s all of a sudden. Kind of strange, but whatever you got. But yeah, so that's kind of the go-to. This is all Kicker system, everything in here. So we got Kicker KS components up front. We got Kicker KS coaxials in the back. Of course, the Comp RT, the Q-Class 1005. Although we do have the audio control LGDs, you know, whatever. And some Stinger wire. Is that everything? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a nice little system. He's going to be very happy. Now, one of the things that's kind of unique about this is we were supposed to get this early yesterday and we didn't. He was having some car issues, and this is one of the things. So like, this is the 3 whatever liter, so this is going to have the fake engine noise. And ForScan, if you're a ForScan user, you can Google what ForScan is. It's not the other thing that. Anyways, it's ForScan. It's a Ford OS that allows you to get in here. You can get the cool little. You can get one of these. Hold on. This drawer? Yeah, it's in this drawer. So you can get one of these guys here, which is the OBD2 reader that plugs in your computer. It's going to have a little toggle switch. You can do all kinds of trickery. There's tons of Google videos or YouTube videos on how to use ForScan on this. Where this got scary for this guy is when he was doing it, his battery went dead. He didn't know his battery went dead. He thought he blew his body control module. It was really scary, touch and go for a while there. And then he figured out his battery was dead. The day was good. He showed up about 3 o'clock. But the moral to the story is, if you're going to do something like ForScan, one of the things you're going to have to do in a Ford is you're going to have to leave the car on for a while. So be good. Make sure you have adequate power. Maybe grab your digital multimeter, check it, see what's going on all the time. Hook it up to a charger possibly. I don't know. But be careful, because for those of you guys that own Fords, a lot of the times when you play them, if the battery's not peak performance, that battery saver mode light will pop on and it'll start shutting things off. Got to pay attention to that. So if you're going to be doing anything like ForScan or any type of updates to the body control module, for one, make sure you create a backup, which he did. 2, he actually hadn't gotten into the software. He was just going through taking a look at it. But make sure your battery is plenty strong so that you can be sitting there for 15, 20 minutes or a half hour and playing with your cool. I recommend using it because it's fun. Why not? But, you know, be careful. Be careful. Play it safe out there, right, boys and girls?
Correct.
We have a correct from Fernando. One sub is like it's like a band pass, I think. So one sub is a passive radiator. So in that particular box, you have the 10-inch Comp RT, full driver, and then the second sub is a passive radiator. If you want to see what it actually looks like, if you go over to YouTube and type in on our channel, we took one of those all apart, spread all the pieces out, and we show you the whole thing, the little passive radiator. What it's literally a pancake. So it's, hold on, let's go back over here. Should have pulled it apart while we're doing this. So this, as you see, it just rocks back and forth. That's not the phone giving you some cool bass thing. So this is like a piece of cardboard with rubber over the top of it, because this is all one piece. They simply just add the stitching so that it matches. But what this does is this makes the box seem bigger. This will breathe as the subwoofer moves. It just creates a lower frequency response. But this is called a passive radiator. Bobby, we just saw those pictures of the snow where you're at. Oh my God, dude. No, thank you. Most economical interface to add amps and retain factory head unit. Most economical? Well, I don't, okay. let's talk about that statement for a minute, because that one's kind of weird. The most economical way to integrate into your factory stereo. The question I was asked is, are we just talking basic high level to low level, or do we want something DSP wise? Secondly, that interface is going to be the most important thing you're going to be putting in your car, because that's what's going to take your factory sound and lower it to go into your amplifiers. So that is where the water comes from. So if you have a crappy version there, it doesn't matter if you buy the best speakers in the world, the best amplifier in the world, it's going to sound like crap. See, we got so I wouldn't be trying to shave money there. Maybe shave money someplace else. As far as the most economical, realistic thing, I would get this guy right here, LC7i. There again, without knowing any more information, this is going to be the best way to get a high level to low level adapter out of your car and keep the sound the best quality you can. Up from there, check out a DSP. DSPs, you know, I don't, you know, you need to know more information, but good stuff. Thanks for the explanation. Can you sum signals into an RTA without one of those Educar summing devices? Yes, you can. As you know, Educar is going to stop producing those if you're into that. And we just so happen to have the Educar right here. Fernando, can you give me a hand for a second? You guys are going to like this. Screwdriver. So, in order to sum signals, you need something... Are you blind? Why is it so far away? You okay? Mm-hmm. All right. Anyways, you need something that has a transformer based... So you need a transformer between both signals, not a resistor, but a transformer. That way they won't talk to one another. Now, we did a video a while back called the cheapest summing device, okay? And for that, what we use is an LP7 II, which is the pack high level to low level adapter. And basically what that is, that's a transformer based high level to low level adapter. Now, this is what is inside of the Kenwood summing device. This guy right here is a transformer-based high-level to low-level adapter. That's what this is, okay? So this RCA that's on the outside of the case here is soldered to these guys right here. There again, we knew what we were buying when we bought this. We bought this because this is convenient. I love the way he made it. I can totally dig it. Like, we have XLR cables that we use for testing. So I bought this because I didn't want to make this, and this was really cool. However, if you don't want to do that, all you need is an LP7 II or any form of other high-level to low-level adapter that uses these transformers here. Now, if you're thinking, wait a minute, what other kind of high-level to low-level adapters could there possibly be other than transformer? Well, you'd have this kind right here. This is a resistor-based high-level to low-level adapter. As you can see, these little white guys here, these are what we use as load resistors now. This is like a P35 pack piece or stinger piece or one of those. This is the old school high-level to low-level adapter, and he ran way too much voltage into this. That's what's caused it. But, however, you can see these are load resistors. So this is a resistive-based. This is a transformer-based. When you have a transformer-based, these two inputs do not talk to one another, and you can put a Y jack here and they will not feed back and short out the system you're connecting them to. So there you go. Wow, good question, man. That was a great question. I love good questions. They're fun. We haven't had that one yet. But yeah, so if you just grab a high level to low level adapter, wish I could talk about that other thing, but I can't. Okay. Yeah, I know. It gets 110 degrees in the summer and 15 degrees in the winter. Ooh, yeah, that's so bad. Best dash kit for a Jeep JK. Your favorite. I ordered the metric kit that you guys use, but it fits like crap. Big gaps everywhere, even after many adjustments. So there's a trick to that, and I'm sure you watched the video where we showed you the trick to get that to work right. However, Alpine, if you go to packparts.com, that's Pack Parts, not to be confused with Pack Audio. It's Pack Parts. Alpine makes the WRA Jeep kit. Okay, so it's available on Pack Parts. So you can spend, it's like $75, and it gets you their dash kit. Now, we did a video called How to Get Your Pioneer to Fit with Your Alpine Brackets a while back, I recall, where we walk you through how to do it. It's a little bit more work, but it does look spectacular. Probably do a Google search or a YouTube search, try to find those videos. If you can't find it on Pack, Paul might have them in stock, or you just call Paul and he might ship you one out. It'll be more than $75 because I think that's dealer cost, and I probably shouldn't have said that. But there again, I suck at pricing, so it'd probably be $100 with shipping and all that crap. But either way,
But just call.
just call Paul, 727-216-6170, and he'll see if he can ship that out to you. There again, it's not going to just go on. There's going to be some work you have to do, but at the end, it's going to look the best. Kit seems like a bunch more pieces than the ones used. Ooh, you got the new one. You got the 6510 new kit. Yeah, there's an older version of it that they re-brought out, so I don't remember what it's called, but there are two 6510s. You want the old 6510, which is the new 6510. So there's one kit that has a... So maybe not get the Alpine kit. Maybe just get the right 6510. I think it's called the 6510. It's like a 6510R or W or something like that, or O for old. But they came out with a new kit, and immediately everyone hated it, so they had to come out. They had to re-release the old kit. Luckily for them, they make all their own plastic, so they didn't throw the mold away. Thank God. Didn't throw the mold away when they made that one. What's the purpose of the crossovers? You can use a... What's the purpose of the crossover and you can use microfarad? The purpose of a crossover? Like a cap? I mean, the purpose of a crossover is to limit the performance of the speaker, meaning limit the frequencies that get to a speaker to keep it from playing frequencies it can't produce and then blowing. A tweeter typically has a microfarad capacitor on it, like a 3.3, a 4.7. Sometimes you get a 2.2 microfarad cap. That's just the value and the size of the cap and what 6 dB slope it's actually crossing it over at. You can Google like capacitor values / frequency, and they'll tell you what 3.7 or 3.2, 2.2, 4.7 all mean, but they're again, the tweeter can't play 100 hertz. It has to be up higher, 32, 5,000, 2,400, depending on the value of the tweeter. 8,000, if it's a real crappy tweeter. But so there you go, you have to do that. For a Scar RP800 at 2 ohms, 600 watts, do I need to upgrade my electric system? I have a 97 Ford F1. No, you'll be fine. Just so you have adequate power wire, 100% copper going to it, you should be good. And a fresh battery. A lot of people, like this guy just found out with his F-150, his battery is 3 years old. He had never bothered to replace it. Apparently, he was shocked that a battery only lasts 3 years in Florida, which is insane because batteries typically only last about a year and a half, if you're lucky. He got 3 years. I got 5 years out of mine, but there again, I don't drive it that much, so... seal for cutout from cab to box for blow through. Yeah, you do need one. It's called accordion boot, and honestly, I don't know who still sells that, but it's called accordion boot. Hello, what's up? It's Havoc. Havoc's in the house. Johnny. Yabba dabba doo. What's going on? Awesome, thanks. Drive me crazy when I get in the Jeep every day. You guys are killing it. What's the point of using crossovers for component set speakers? And you just use sets, and you can just use a capacitor. All right, so do we have a crossover anywhere? Out? No? Oh, we do. Okay. We have the, hold on.
Oh, yeah.
What's that?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Do the coaxials have them, or just the, do these? All right, anyways, hold on. Let me grab my Morel crossover right here. So this is a 3-way crossover right here. All right, first thing you got to understand is you see caps and coils. Now, caps are these guys here. This red thing, this purple thing. Coils are these copper things here. This is a 12 dB crossover network, meaning you have a cap and coil for every output on here. If you just had a cap, that would be a 6 dB crossover network. you're going to have a different reaction between them. Meaning at 6 dB, you're not going to have the sharper roll off that you'll have at 12 dB. Meaning you have to cross that tweeter over way higher. Now, the idea behind why you have all these in here is that a tweeter, hold on. A tweeter needs a bottom, meaning a tweeter can only play so low. So your tweeter is, hang on. Your tweeter is going to have a point here where it needs to, where the crossover is going to be. So if we have a straight line here, this is going to be our tweeter crossover. So we'll call that T. Now our mid-range is going to need to stop playing. It doesn't need to play these tweeter frequencies because we have a tweeter that does that. So we have to cross over our mid-range somewhere in the same basic area. We need our downward slope, and then this is going to go this way. Okay, so this we'll call mid. This slope is determined by what you're using. So in this case, we're using a cap and a coil. That's going to give us 12 dB. If we were just using a cap, that's going to give us a 6 dB, which is going to do this. In this case, we'd be just using a coil on the mid-range. So if this was a number, you're getting a lot more frequency playback, so we might actually have to move this point way over to here in order to limit the performance of our tweeter enough so that we don't blow it. This mid-range, we don't want it playing tweeter frequencies because it can interfere with the tweeter. There will be a natural roll-off point for the mid-range, but if it's higher than the tweeter crossover point, that might not be desired. Now, this is the limiter for the mid-range. I mean, you only want the mid-range to play down so low because there again, it's not a subwoofer, so we're gonna add another crossover here. Now this is typically done by either the amplifier or the radio. And then you'll add in the subwoofer crossover point, which is going to go here. But what we're talking about is in this general area right here, which is our cap and coil, which is our 12 dB crossover network. Now this is a three-way set, so this adds a second set of crossovers here because this has a mid-bass, which is going to be crossed over here, and a mid-range, which is crossed over here. So we have mid-range, mid-bass, okay? And that's not to scale, of course, but you get the idea. So that's why we don't just use a cap on the tweeter. But on like loud tweeters, we typically, like loudspeakers, we typically do, because with a loud set of speakers, you know, you cap off the tweeter, and then that mid-range, which is a straight mid-range, not a mid-bass, is just gonna go crazy and play all the way up, and it has a high enough. Those two crossover points in loudspeakers are the natural roll-off point for that mid-range. You want it to play loud. Like, you don't really care because that's the whole purpose of those. You're going to make it loud and obnoxious and silly. Whereas in something like what I would call a daily driver normal type thing, you wouldn't want to do that. What are you guys doing in the F-150? Amp sub speakers. You know, full kicker system, KS components, coaxials in a Q-Class 1005. Do you actually think the Sony Power Radio can push one sub and 4 speakers? I've heard it. I've actually heard it when we were in, I've heard it a couple times. Like when we were in Knowledge Fest, I heard it once. We were at a Cars and Coffee and Sony was there. They brought me over and played it for me. It was really quite impressive, I must say. I tried to get them to bring me the car so that we could do like a show talking about what they'd done. Their follow-through kind of sucks. But I would love to get one of their, because we don't sell that particular radio and it's already done, so there's really no point other than for us to talk about it. So I've been trying to get them to bring us their little car to have us do that. So maybe next year we'll get lucky and they'll actually want to market their stuff so that we can show you guys how it actually works. But you know, all we can do is ask. You doing any installs with waveguides? I used to have a set of waveguides. I had the Image Dynamic set of horns in my Dodge Ram. Hated them with a passion. It's not my thing. Had them for about 2.5 years. I had those. I had the mid bass, and I had a 12-inch powered off of 2 Alpine Expert Class 505s.
Okay.
The hardest part about them was getting them perfectly lined up across the under part of the dash. At the time, my mentor, Bill Trigillis, I was like, dude, you got to help me with this. And he just goes, so easy. He took a piece of Sentra and he built this 4-foot C channel. We cut out the 2 holes where the tweeters is, and it bolted right up underneath my dash. We aimed him perfectly, and within like 20 minutes we had him mounted, and I was like, you suck. I'm in there trying to do all this elaborate crap, and you know, that was the thing I liked about him, is he would always find the best, fastest way to do stuff. Stretch some girl cloth over the front of him, and there you go, man. It was great. Oh yeah, covered it in vinyl. It was sexy. But yeah, I hated him. I hated him with a passion. They just were not my thing. That's not to say they sucked. I just personally, as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of that sound. And at the time, louds didn't exist the way they exist now. So, you know, and Richard Clark had them, and everyone was like, Richard Clark's the man. Look that up. And so you just assumed that they were going to be amazing, and it just wasn't the sound I was after. And you know, live and learn. Looking for a decent set of components for a 2006 Ford Expedition. There's plenty of them out there. I mean, go crazy. I mean, I don't know which price point would probably be better, but you know, everybody makes a decent set of components now. You can get into some of the affordable Focal stuff. Morel makes entry-level stuff now, or affordable stuff we'll call it. Yeah. So there's plenty of parts that are affordable. You know, if you're trying to be under 200, 100, 150, you know, that's a little different. Then you might want to look at like some TSA Pioneers, something like that, because those are affordable. Heck, even Scar Audio has, I think their most expensive set of the ones we put in that Ford the other day, most expensive set they had was still under $200.
Oh, okay.
Those sound pretty good. Hello. Illusion Electric Speakers or JBL Stadium Speakers? Electra. It says Electra. Illusion. I mean, if it's Illusion, then I'm thinking by Orca. I would definitely take the Orca speakers. Right. The JBL Stadium speakers, there again, if we're talking louds, not my thing. But I don't know enough about JBL. I know about Illusion Audio, but if it's different, if Illusion Audio is different from Illusion Electra, I've never heard of it, so if that's the question, I'm going to go with what I've heard of, which would be JBL. So that's the best I can do there. Right. Thanks for sharing your story. I agree. They do have different sound.
There you go.
Okay. Was that fun? Did we have a good time? We learned about crossovers today on the show. That's why I love it when people watch this, because it's like every now and then we get really good questions, and we answer them, and then the people that don't get to watch this miss out on all that information, and it's like, oh well. Sorry about the most hated aspect ratio in car audio.
Right, yeah.
All right, guys, for that, we're going to get going. We got a show tonight at 6 o'clock, so make sure you check that out over on the YouTubes. Until then, you guys have a great rest of your day. We're going to finish up this car. We got to get it all tuned up and rocking and rolling. Bye.
Bye.